Ebony Fashion Fair was really the brainchild of Eunice Johnson. She became director and producer of the show after it started in 1958. And so the fashion fair really comes from Ebony magazine, which was and is the best Black lifestyle magazine being published today. When she would go to these European design houses to get fashions for her models to wear, first of all, they didn't know who she was. They wouldn't sell to her. They didn't want to see their fashions on Black or brown bodies. Eunice, I think through her vision, she created a world that really didn't exist before. Essentially, by taking these European fashions, putting them on Black and brown models, you really get a sense of a celebration of Black style. And that's the reason why these fashion shows look different from any other fashion show you would see. So based on that early history, she was like, well, you know, forget this model. I'm going to do what I want to do, what my community wants to do, which is, she just had such imagination to be able to create something that hadn't existed before. So you get Black music being played by an all-Black band, all-Black staff, all-Black models for African American communities that could be like out in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, in your high school gymnasium. She created a really surreal world, and I think you see that sort of idea of fantasy in a lot of the garments you'll see in this show and a lot of the garments she picked. She has some really sort of like diva stage wear ones, and then she has some really avant-garde pieces. So this piece is by Patrick Kelley. He was an African-American designer that was really prolific in the mid to late 80s. And he unfortunately passed away at the age of 35 due to complications from AIDS. But before he passed away, he created amazing collections that really played with the idea of racial stereotypes. So on the front of this gown, you see this really like sort of caricature face, which relates back to the images of pickaninnies in the early 1900s in the US. You had people doing minstrel shows. It was making fun of basically of Black phenotypes and what Black people did. So he really reined that in and kind of took control of it by being able to put it on these gowns. And one thing he loved to use were buttons, plastic buttons, and really play with that as his motif. So Patrick Kelley was one of the few African-American gay designers, just period. And Eunice Johnson embraced that. I mean, looking through this show, if you subtracted the LGBT community from the show, you'd have barely anything. There would be barely anything to see in here. Today, there's this idea that African Americans don't embrace LGBT people or communities, and I just think this is a great way to show how that's not the full story. This ensemble is by Elora B Ashati, and she's an Italian designer. And Italian designers were some of Eunice Johnson's favorite people to work with. And it really exudes the idea of having the full ensemble when you are, you know, walking out the door, and that talks a lot to class and wealth and like just pride in yourself, that you can have a matching pair of mink boots with your matching jacket, but then, you know, when you take that off, you don't want to go over the top, right? There's actually a cream suit, just plain cream suit underneath. So you can walk, you know, especially being winter here in Milwaukee, you can walk outside looking fly and then take that coat off and just be like completely, just bring that sophistication back and kind of play with this idea of spectacle and classic, and, you know, class. I'm Camille Morgan, and I'm the guest coordinating curator for Inspiring Beauty, 50 Years of Ebony Fashion Fair here at the Milwaukee Art Museum.